What's up, everyone? My name is Matthew Dale. I am here to help you play better, sound great, and understand more. And today we're going to be diving into this solo from Dreadnaught by the band Sabaton. Real quick before we dive into the solo, if you want a leg up on your music theory knowledge, then you should head over to my website, matthewdale.com/theory, and download my Essential Music Theory cheat sheet for free. This incredible guide lays out everything that you need to know about music theory so that you can build a very rock-solid foundation on your understanding of music. If you want to improve your musical knowledge, if you want to play better, sound great, and understand more, head over to matthewdale.com/theory to download the Essential Music Theory cheat sheet. Now, the first thing that we need to do before we learn any solo, but especially a solo that we're going to be looking into primarily for how it interacts with the notes inside of chords, is we need to understand our chords first, our chord progression. So I'm going to wind up my volume here. Our chord progression goes like this: F sharp minor, playing it as a power chord here, C sharp minor, D, A, E. Back to F sharp minor, D, A, E. And that's our 8-bar phrase. That happens twice for a total of 16 bars, and all of the note choices inside of the solo reflect that. So the first phrase, the first 4 bars, F sharp, C sharp, D, A, E. We start with this very basic line. Now, technically speaking, we are in the key of A here, A major, and this chord progression would be 6, 3, 4, 1, 5. We could potentially look at this in F sharp minor, but it really doesn't give us any benefit or any drawbacks to doing that. So that's just, dealer's choice at that point. Over that first F sharp chord, we get this phrase. And this, even though it sounds scalular, it's mostly chord tones, okay? So we're on F sharp, and then we have G sharp, the second degree of the F sharp chord. I'm focusing my number counting per chord here. So I'm on F sharp, and this is the root, 2, 3, and then our 5th, our power chord note. So there's our little minor triad. And we are connecting the dots within those chords by utilizing the second degree of that chord, or second degree of the scale that would be on top of the F sharp minor. This isn't so much about chord scales, it's about chord tones, so I'm just going to focus on that. But in this case, we are connecting that chord tone material with a non-chord tone. And now, we're landing on the 5th of the C sharp minor. Now, he plays a very similar phrase here, and I would call this voice leading a phrase. So we're moving the notes around very little and actually kind of conforming the thing that we just played to fit on top of a new chord. So I call this voice leading a phrase. Over the C sharp minor, and what you see is we have the same basic construction: chord tone, non-chord tone, chord tone. And let me go through it just so I can remember exactly what I played. So chord tone, this is the 4th. I'm actually starting on the 3rd. There's our C sharp minor if I put a shape on top of that. So now I'm on the 3rd of the chord, the 4th, 5th, 3rd, root, 5th. Now I'm on D, and now the F sharp is the 3rd of our D chord. Now again here, very similar thing is happening. I'm on the 3rd, 4th, 5th. Now I go down to the 5th of the A chord, and I end on the 5th of the E chord. Now let's move on to our second phrase. because we get a little bit busier here, but the same rules are applying here. We're focusing on chord tones, connecting them with non-chord tones, and putting those chord tones on strong beats. So I'm starting on the third of the F sharp, and I'm playing 3, 4, 5. And now, all chord tones from here. Now, I'm going to go through numbers on this again. 3, 4, 5, root, 3. So we have this second inversion triad kind of on top of this phrase. I'm playing it all on one string. You can hear, especially like since this solo for the most part is played on the neck pickup, it sounds very liquid and very fluid. That's another case for learning your scales and your chords on one string and just kind of moving up and down one string. Now, I'm going to go back to that construction because in the last phrase, we voice-led a phrase. Now we're going to be doing parallel motion of a phrase. So, on the F sharp, 3, 4, 5, 1, 3. On the D chord, remember we're going to D this time on the second phrase. Now, same thing applies. 3, 4, 5, 1, 3. And then I resolve to the fifth of the A chord. And I love that. That's one of the things that is just so well crafted that you don't notice this stuff if you're just like, trying to learn where to put your fingers on the fretboard to play the solo if you're reading off of a tab. Not that tab is bad, but it's really good to dive into this stuff at this level if you really want to eventually sound like this or create stuff of your own like this. So, one phrase on one chord, the F sharp. Same phrase moved over to D. Now I'm landing on the fifth of our A. I'm playing just a straight D chord shape, A triad. And then I resolve down to the third of the E chord. There's our first 8 measures. Now, even though this next phrase is a burner, we are still mostly focused on chord tones. 3, 5, 1, 2, 3, 1, 5, 3, 1, 5, 1, 2, 3. So now the only other non-chord tone that we hit again in this sequence is the second again, this time up an octave. Okay, now this next part. So after we make our way up on the F sharp, we do a little twiddle that kind of goes back down again. Still just utilizing the second degree of our chord, the only non-chord tone we don't use here. Now we go to this C sharp. Again, this is the phrase where we go from F sharp, C sharp, D, and then A to E. So, this is all chord tones. Even though this one sounds big and expansive, it's really all chord tones. So I'm playing in this, it's really starting life as a D minor arpeggio chord shape. So starting on the fifth of our C sharp, 5, 3, 1, 5, 1, 3, 1, 5, 1, 5, 3, 1. And then back to 3, 5, 4, 3. And I move back to that note there, which is the F sharp. It's the third of our D chord. So now that we're on our D chord, we're actually doing something really similar that we did back in phrase 1. In fact, it's almost the same thing. I'm just starting live from this D, and then the root note of our D chord. 3, 4, 5. And again, another little twiddle from the 5th to the 4th to the 5th, down to the 3rd, and then we're landing on the 5th of our A again, and then we're playing a little phrase and landing on the 5th of our E again. Now on the next part, 3, 4, 5, root. And then right there, we're just sort of bouncing back and forth from the root and the 5th. And then playing, now here's where we get potentially a little bit of a different non-chord tone. So this would be root, flat 7, although that would be a chord tone in an F sharp minor 7, so it almost counts. 5th. Now we're on D here, so I'm going to the root of the D. And in this part, again, that's a little bit more like a voice leading thing going on, where we're moving from one chord tone to the next chord tone in a very small motion. And then we play this big interval of a 5th. And again, another great arpeggio sequence with one added note. Guess what it might be? If you're guessing either the 2nd or the 4th, you're going to be correct. So F sharp, D. So now we're on root 5, root, 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 and then 5, 4, 3, root, 5, 2. So now we're actually technically using both of them. That's such a great little phrase to play on top of a 4 chord. So D chord, we're resolving back to the 3rd of the A chord. And then again, I hit that high root note again. Now I'm on the 5th, bending up to a high 3rd, landing on the 3rd of the 5 chord, and then this scale sequence, again, it's working its way off of a D chord shape from Caged. And playing this scale sequence here. So I'm actually kind of pulling off the 4th. Again, either the 4th or 2nd is the name of the game here. So 4, 3, 1, 5, and then going down to the 3rd. And that's kind of a good little thing to warm up too. I'm sliding, I'm not playing that in position. I'm actually sliding down to that 3rd to play the rest of the phrase. And then I kind of work back up in a scalular motion, but again, there's only one non-chord tone there. So 4, 3, 1, 5, 3, 4, 5, 4, 3, 1. And then 3, 4, 5, 4, 3. Hammer on pull-up. And then finally ending, the first time we ever do this, we end on the F sharp on the root. Let's go ahead and sum up. Now, obviously, this isn't so much, here's how to play the solo. This is a video that is, here's how to understand the solo. And here's why it would be beneficial for you to keep the scalular focus. I'm not saying do away with scales and never think about scales ever again. I'm saying focus your scale knowledge down a little bit to thinking about chords. Go through all of your scale shapes and find just tiny chord shapes within those. I'm going to have an extended lesson on the solo as well as tabs, the transcription of the solo, how I'm playing it, over on my Patreon. If you want to dive into this solo a little bit deeper, head over there. I will link to it in the description box below. Don't forget to download my Essential Music Theory cheat sheet if you want to get caught up on some of the music theory stuff that I've been talking about in this video as well. My name is Matthew Dale. I'm here to help you play better, sound great, and understand more. I hope you found this interesting, and I will see you all again next time.